परब्रह्म समारम्भाम् श्री दत्तात्रेय मध्यमाम् श्री दत्त स्वामी पर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलवेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम्। गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम् विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम् पाहि मां दत्ता रक्ष मां दत्ता।
Trailokya Gita, Chapter 18, Visheshamsha Jnana Yogaha, Association of Knowledge of Special Points. Trailokya Uvacha Sarvajna Bhagavan Datta Yogamargaya Manavaihi Ke Jneya Visheshamshaha Bruhi Sankshipya Sadguro. Miss Trailokya asked, O omniscient God Datta, O divine preacher, what are the special points to be taken care of for traveling in the path of yoga by human devotees? Please tell me in brief.
Shri Datta Swami Uvacha Sashame Jnana Sharchayam Savege Karma Nishchaye Shrunu Yoge Visheshamshan Trailokye Triputishritan. Shri Datta Swami spoke, O Trailokya, you have a lot of patience while learning spiritual knowledge, and after deciding the truth, you have tremendous speed in implementing it into practice. You hear me regarding the special points in the path of yoga which are related to the famous triad or Triputi, that is, the explanation of 1. Traveler in the path, 2. The path that is to be travelled, and 3. The goal that is to be reached by the traveler. Sumanas sutanau kuruyat shramam chitamadakshayam yardha bhashana chitradi vinodamshan parityayet. It is said that a sound mind exists in a sound body. Hence, the aspirant of yoga must daily do physical exercises as far as possible so that the fat accumulated in the body is melted by the physical exercises. This will help in keeping the mind and intelligence very active and alert to help the proper understanding of steps in the path of yoga. Added to this, all the worldly entertainments like unnecessary gossip with friends, reading worldly books, seeing worldly movies, etc. must be avoided. Pratyaharashyamo nityam vyayamasagatir damaha anudvega kriya nishtha siddhasana suhrudvayam. The first step, called Shama, related to the control of mind, is linked with the fifth step, called Pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of mind from the external world. The second step, called Dhamma, is related to the discipline of external senses or the physical body by doing physical exercises along with walking. Both these steps, called Shama and Dhamma, are the two friends of the third step, called Asanam, which does not mean simply sitting and means stable involvement in God's work. There is usage in the world about a person staying in some city on some important work, like he is sitting in that city for that work. Hence, here sitting or asanam shall be taken in the sense of constant involvement in an important work without any tension and with happiness to do that work. Hence, asanam is defined as sthira sukham asanam. Chiraya kumbhaka sajjha pranakarshana raktavan vimalah purako vastra channanasa mukho bahihi. The fourth step is called pranayama, which involves inhaling, that is puraka, retaining, that is kumbhaka, and exhaling air through nose, that is reshaka. Retaining the air is the most important step, and more time spent in this step is to be achieved, because more the time, more will be the absorption of oxygen by the blood from the inhaled air. This oxygen purifies the blood and also helps in the oxidation of the food in mitochondria to release the inert energy necessary for the various functions of the body, and also in the generation of awareness in the functioning brain nervous system. The step called inhaling the air is also important, and when the person goes out, he or she must wear the cloth as mask to prevent impure solid particles in the air that enter during inhalation. Dharana grahanam tasya naropadher budhe dhyanam bhakti samadhischa nishchayah karma yoginah. The sixth step, called dharana, is to catch the human incarnation of God who has come down to help the humanity, since God is the ocean of kindness. If God stays above as energetic incarnation only, human beings have to waste a lot of their lifetime in order to even see energetic form of God for very short time. God saved this wastage by coming down as a human form to the earth, so that meeting God for spiritual knowledge starts without any prior wastage of time. The seventh step, meditation, called as dhyana, is the devotion developed on God after knowing all the details of the divine personality of God. The final eighth step is called samadhi, which means the firm decision about the divinity of human incarnation of God, by which only practical devotion or karma yoga is implemented. If such a decision is not permanent, it is called as savikalpa samadhi, and if the decision is permanent, it is called nirvikalpa samadhi. Nararupam jagad brahma datto yat pranidhanatah malannasyen mahavrutya shankara swapna vruttivat. The human form of the incarnation misleads to a decision that the incarnation is human being. This human form is called as the external world. The inner hidden God Datta, or unimaginable God, is the God or Brahman, or more accurately Parabrahman. This is the meaning of superimposition of human form on God, called as adhyasa of Shankara. It is not the superimposition of this entire world on God, because the seer or jiva is also a teeny part of the superimposed world, and hence can never see the inner hidden God by coming out of superimposition. Of course, this theory of superimposition is developed by Advaita philosophers in the case of God and world, but it fails in that context. The same built-up theory of superimposition is successfully applied to the context of mistaking the human incarnation of God or God as an ordinary human being. There is no flaw in this application, because the human being is said to be a micro world or pindanda, whereas the macro world is said to be brahmanda. The similarity between both is that both contain the 9 items, Navavaranams, which are 8 items of Apara Prakriti and 1 item called Paraprakriti. The Yoga Sutras say that this superimposition can be removed by concentrating on God, Ishvara Pranidhanat. Again, here also the theory of Avarana, Vikshepa and Mala built by Advaita philosophers is not applicable in their context but is exactly applicable in this context of misunderstanding, that is adhyasa, of God as human being in the case of human incarnation. In Advaita philosophy, Avarana means hiding the original object like rope. Vikshepa means appearance of new object like snake. Mala means very long standing impression of the new object for several births. The Vikshepa goes in few hours by concentrating on the original object. The Mala goes in a few births by concentrating on the original object. This concentration on the original object is called as Ishvara Pranidhana. In Advaita philosophy, the original God is the unimaginable God who can never be concentrated upon, as said in the Gita, Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. For this reason only, Patanjali said that the concentration shall be done on the first energetic incarnation called as Ishvara or Datta. This God Datta exists in human incarnation as hidden inner item. The impression of human form is coming in the mind of the devotee since past several births, and such impression, vritti, is hiding the inner God Datta. Vritti or impression of a false state can be removed only by the concentration of the true vritti or impression of God Datta only. This means that the concentrated devotion to God Datta alone can destroy the external impression of human being to see the human incarnation as God Datta, because one diamond vritti can alone cut another diamond, that is vritti. Regarding Vikshepa, Shankara says that a person frightened by the dream tiger continues to fear for some time even though the person awakes, and this is due to the long standing impression of the tiger for few hours. After few hours only, the vritti of reality on getting concentrated removes the fear of the dream tiger. In this way, all the Advaita philosophy helps the devotee in realizing the human incarnation as God Datta, even though it does not help to realize this world as God or Brahman or Parabrahman. Long standing of false impression for some hours is Vikshepa, and long standing of false impression for some births is called as Mala. The undigested food after some hours is Vikshepa, and stored undigested food for some days is called as Mala, which is very strong danger. Even though Advaita philosophers work very hard in building this theory of superimposition for the sake of explaining the superimposition of the world on God, unfortunately it failed in their context because the seer or jiva is a part of the superimposed world. Of course, this theory is applicable if the seer is God Himself creating the world on Himself for the sake of real and full entertainment, so that all the three states, Avarana, Vikshepa and Mala, are meaningful for the sake of entertainment. If you take the world to mean the human form superimposed on God, in the case of the analysis of human incarnation, every human being seeing the human incarnation as ordinary human being becomes the seer for whom only there is a necessity of removing false impression by true impression, so that God in human incarnation is realized, removing the impression of human being by following the entire Advaita philosophy. By the concentration on God Datta, if God Datta is pleased, He appears to the devotee while the external human form disappears temporarily, because the unreal human form or equivalent to world is granted with the absolute reality of God by God, which can be withdrawn by Himself only. It is said that the ant hill built by ants becomes useful for the serpent to dwell in it. It is also said that the wealth stored by a miser is taken away by the king to be used for the welfare of public. Trimata ikyam bhinna bhakta trayepyavatāragam vidyudvalyoh prudhaktvancha prudhaktam chaikyamīkshitam. The devotee shall not differentiate sub-religions of Hinduism and Hinduism from any other religion of the world. The monism of Shankara is true in the case of human incarnation, in which God is perfectly merged with the selected human medium, as in the case of Rama, Krishna, etc. The qualified monism of Ramanuja indicates the inseparable devotee from God, like a part from the whole, indicating extreme closeness, as in the case of Adishesha and God Vishnu. The dualism of Madhva indicates the separable devotee from God, like a servant from the master, as in the case of Hanuman and God Rama. Since these three theories exist in three different cases of devotees, there is no contradiction which can be present if it is the case of one devotee only. These three philosophies can be applied to the human incarnation or energetic incarnation also. Merged God and selected human medium in the human incarnation can be treated as the merged electricity and wire in an electrified wire. In monism, the electricity and wire become one for all practical purposes, since the wire touched anywhere gives the shock of electricity. In qualified monism and dualism, the electricity and wire are treated as two separate items, since electricity is a stream of electrons and the wire is a chain of metallic atoms. In qualified monism, electricity and wire are inseparable in the case of electrified wire. In dualism, electricity and wire are separable in the case of non-electrified wire. In this way, the three theories are the alternate angles of the same concept. Mate chopamate shaikyam pashyedasam sutam vibhum sthitam bhasi chantarbhasi swayam bhasi jaganmate. The unity of the religions of the world can be achieved if the above three philosophies are correlated, by which the human incarnation or even the energetic incarnation is treated as God in monism, the human incarnation is treated as the Son of God in qualified monism, and the human incarnation is treated as the servant or messenger of God in dualism. This results in saying that the incarnation is light, that is monism. The light is in the incarnation, that is qualified monism, and the incarnation is in light, that is dualism. On the whole, the aspirant for the union with God Yoga shall neither find difference among sub-religions of Hinduism nor difference among the various religions in the world. Kopi jiva kshuddha mrutyum prapnuyanna drushoh puraha kshuddha shantyaicha yadvate mahapritis tatah prabho. Don't allow any living being with awareness to die with hunger before your eyes. Also, don't kill any such living being to pacify your hunger. If you follow these two principles, I assuredly tell all of you that the Divine Lord will be very much pleased with you. Tasmai kalardha shakti syat pravrutteh paramanvaham durvyaye chitta vruttinam nigrahe cha vachah kriyaah. Every day, after spending necessary time, money and energy that is essentially needed for the basic needs of worldly life, you must spend all the rest time, money and energy for the sake of work of God. If you control wastage of mind and thoughts, in unnecessary wasteful things, automatically your words and actions are also controlled from wastage. Mita vrutti na vanijya veshya hetu parichyate sukhada paramananda dvidhaya brahmalokada. If you make your worldly life very simple, without any extra aspirations, you will not try to do business with God. In such case, you will certainly avoid 1. The prostitution devotion, praying orally, aspiring practical benefits from God, and 2. The business devotion, that is praying for fulfillment of practical desires by submitting practical gifts in exchange. But you will be tested by God now and then, showing attractions. If you follow this policy, your worldly life will be very happy, and also your spiritual life will give you always eternal bliss. In this way, you are benefited here and there, and finally you will reach the divine abode of God. Yavan kshemakarastavan pravrutyardhastato bhavet bhunjanam vati dhavantam pranahani samavishet. If you follow the above said policy, God will grant you that much materialistic welfare by which your worldly life will be always safe. If you aspire more, you will be entangled in serious problems. Excess is always to be avoided. If a person eats excess or runs excess, such person will be attacked by life danger, as we see in the world. Na jalpavashamagachet maya bhranti prada asuri swapramana vivekova gururva karma nishchaye. Don't come under the control of any chatterbox who will create delusion by false advices, dipping you in demonism. When you face such a false influence, use your sharp analysis, or if necessary, take the help of your divine preacher before coming to hasty practical decision. Mudhopyatra guru sthatum yatetahamikavashaha shrotaram shishumahanyat shesham simhaivagragam. Even a foolish fellow wants to become advisor to others due to his ego that controls him. If the childlike innocent public happens to be the audience of such a foolish fellow, the audience gets immediately finished like a rabbit standing before the mouth of a lion. Papa shramarjidam putran नाशयेत् वर्धयेन्मितं ज्ञानी हि भक्ति सेवाभ्यां भगवत् करुणावरः. Even if you earn a lot by doing a lot of strain in illegitimate way, such wealth will destroy your children. If you earn even little through the path of justice, that little wealth will grow tremendously, helping your children. For steady progress, spiritual knowledge, devotion to God, and doing God's work are essential, by which God's grace will fall on you to make you eligible for every divine boon. Pravrittischa nivrittischa netre drustistu kevala paramatmani kartavya yogakshema karihiya. Both pravritti or worldly life and nivritti or spiritual life are the two eyes of the spiritual aspirant. But the sight of the two eyes is always one only. Such a single sight must be always established on God only. This will bring new benefits, yoga, and protect the already attained benefits, kshema. नाचरन्नप्यशक्तः सन् जगतां परिवर्तने त्रैलोक्या दत्त संवादं सोऽपि मुक्तः प्रचारयन्. Even if a person is unable to practice this spiritual knowledge that transmitted between God Datta and Trailokya, if such a person propagates this spiritual knowledge in the world, which will be useful to reform this entire world, such a propagating person will also get salvation in course of time by the grace of God Datta. Vedasagara sattarka dattakormasthamandarat jnanamrutam samunnidam pibantu vibudhas sakrit. The Vedic scripture is the mighty ocean. The sharp logic is the Mandara mountain standing on the back of God Datta tortoise used to churn the ocean. The true spiritual knowledge is brought out like the divine nectar. Let the good scholars, angels, drink this divine nectar immediately without any delay. Evam datta guru swami Trailokya shishyayoh pathan prashnottaraardha vedantam advaita dvaita muktiman. Like this, the spiritual knowledge in the form of questions and answers that transacted between the disciple called Trailokya and the Lord of divine preachers called God Datta ends here. Any person reading this divine spiritual knowledge with clear understanding will get final divine fruit of monism, becoming human incarnation, or divine fruit of dualism, becoming master of God, as per the corresponding path followed. And this is the ultimate salvation. Iti Trailokya Gītāyam Visheshamsha Jnana Yogo Nama Ashtadashadhyayah. Iti Trailokya Gita Sampurna. Like this, in Trailokya Gita, the 18th chapter called Association of Knowledge of Special Points is completed. Like this, Trailokya Gita is completed.
Udvegarahita Santosharahita Shanti Samudra Shri Datta Shanti Samudra Shri Datta Shanti Samudra Shri Datta. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi.
Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that propagating divine spiritual knowledge pleases the Lord greatly. Jnana yajnena tenaham ishtasyamiti me matihi. Spiritual knowledge brings about permanent peace and harmony in the world. So join us in sharing this divine knowledge of Lord Datta and earn the highest grace of God. For more spiritual videos, visit our YouTube channel, Shri Datta Swami. For more discourses on true spiritual knowledge, visit the website www.universal-spirituality.org.